Hello everyone, welcome to Broadband Deployment News. The NTIA has come out and they've released some information about self-certification for BEAD waivers for the Build America, Buy America portion of that. And if you therefore are an equipment manufacturer or are going to be supplying materials that would be going towards BEAD, or if you are an internet service provider that plans on getting BEAD funding, you need to know about this. So stay tuned, I'll be right back. Thanks for joining me. Rick Husey here with Broadband Deployment News. So you see here I've linked to this document down in the description, or this webpage, demonstrating compliance with the Buy America requirement. So this, I believe this just came out, a little description or intro here. So earlier this year, the NTIA released a narrow and targeted Build America, Buy America, or BABA waiver for the BEAD program. That Build America, Buy America is part of something that was put into the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. And the goal there is to try to have equipment and materials that are made here in America so that we're making best use of American employees here, giving people jobs, those kinds of things. So, and then having control of the supply chain, lots of good reasons for doing that. And that's what that's about. But there's certain, it makes it a challenge. The goal of this program is also to get broadband deployed everywhere that is needed as quickly as possible. And that provided some challenges with certain equipment or components or materials that were not available, readily available here in the United States, and with some of the percentages that you needed in that equipment to be able to, for it to count as being built and bought, or I guess built in America. Some of the percentages and the components that you needed was really difficult for certain types of things. So the NTIA did come out with some limited waivers a while back, earlier this year, if I remember. In fact, I linked down, I did a video about that at the time and went through the waivers. If you want to check that out, that is also in the description of this video. So that's what this is about. You see here the waiver will result in the majority of fiber broadband equipment, including optical fiber, fiber optic cable, key electronics, and enclosures necessary to bring affordable and reliable high-speed internet service to everyone in America being made here in the United States. But again, there's certain things that were waived. For example, one of the issues we have is that, let's take an OLT, for example. That's that's kind of the termination equipment or the access concentrator equipment. Online, what is OLT? Online terminal adapter, something like that. I can't remember. But in any event, the OLT, it's got components in there, and the ONTs, that's what goes with the subscriber home, the CPE. That stuff's got chips in it, and we don't make many chips, if any, here these days. We're trying to, there was the CHIPS Act, and we're trying to rectify that, but that's going to be a while. So they need to do some waivers, because if you think about the cost of that equipment and you stick a chip in there, that chip is a big part of the cost. So therefore, it didn't quite meet the Buy American requirements. So certain things were waived, to be able to make that happen, because again, the cost of that chip being so high. So those waivers, like I said, you can check that out. The link down in the description of this video to a video that I did prior when those waivers first came out. Today's announcement provides the framework for entities to self-certify and report compliance with BABA requirements and the use of the BABA waiver for the BEAD program. This release is timely as subgrantees are preparing to bid on BEAD deployments across the country, and both subgrantees and manufacturers need clear rules on the road on how to report on BABA compliance, rules of the road. So self-certification here, it says manufacturers at the risk of federal penalty can choose to certify that equipment they produce meets the BEAD BABA waiver. So right there, they're telling you, you can self-certify, but make sure that it does meet that, because you have a risk of a federal penalty if you are incorrect or lying about that. So don't do that. Instructions for how to add your company's BABA compliant equipment to the list can be found under the approved waiver section on the DACA BABA page. The DOC BABA page, excuse me. I'll show that in a minute. Manufacturers are not required to self-certify, so this isn't a requirement that you do that. The self-certification is a voluntary mechanism to limit fraudulent claims of BABA compliance, which I thought was interesting, because if you're going to self-certify, you're going out on a limb and saying, I guess you're certified. I'm not sure how that limits fraudulent claims, unless what they're saying is if you self-certify, then we can penalize you if you're not certified. Whereas what happens if you don't self-certify and you just sell it? I don't know. I'm not quite sure how that limits fraudulent claims, but that's what they're saying. In the coming weeks, NTIA will release the first version of the self-certification list. This will be updated on a regular basis. So obviously as materials and equipment manufacturers self-certify, that list will be updated as things change. And then there's compliance. Manufacturers' BABA certification letter. The manufacturers are required to provide a BABA certification letter to a subgrantee for equipment that requires domestic production in the BABA or in the BEAD BABA waiver. Subgrantees are required to maintain the certification letter in the event of an audit. So again, if you're an internet service provider, that applies to you. And of course, the manufacturers have to provide that letter. Waiver reporting, and this goes for the service providers, that would be the subgrantees. It says subgrantees will be required to report certain information on finished waived electronics used in BEAD deployments. This information will be used to better understand the electronics used in domestic broadband deployments, including the specific types of equipment, their ubiquity, and their country of origin. So that to me seems more like they're just trying to get a feeling of, kind of a database of what equipment is not being made here in the United States that would be waived. What country is it from? How much of it is there? So I guess it shows them where we have some challenges as far as getting certain types of equipment made here in the United States. It could maybe be a reason to see if we can get that rectified, where if we see a whole bunch of equipment that's coming from somewhere else, a particular country, it lets us know, hey, this is something we could be making here in the U.S. So I think they're just trying to get a database there of that. And then also it will help, I think, with kind of keeping track of what, just the waivers in general. And they'll see all of the manufacturers that are supposedly part of that waiver, and are they really? So I guess it's maybe a way for them to track that as well. BEAD program is not just a connectivity program, it's a jobs program, and that's good. Again, that's a worthy goal. So this was part of the BEAD program was part of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. So there's jobs in there. So it's infrastructure, it's the broadband, and there's jobs. So, obviously there's jobs that will be American jobs here for people in this country that will be deploying it. All of the technicians that go out and the engineers that go out and get the networks built, get them engineered, get them built. But then there's also the equipment and making stuff. So that is an important part of it. So we're trying to make that where that is equipment and materials that are manufactured here in the United States as much as possible by American workers. Part of a larger effort to drive investment in domestic manufacturing and secure our domestic broadband supply chain. And again, the supply chains are important. We found that out during the pandemic, where if there's an interruption in the supply chain, it's a little bit easier if it's something something made in this country. But if you've got supply chains that's bringing in materials, again, chips, very, very critical chips, not related to broadband, but medications, therapeutics, vaccines, all of that stuff. It's very important that you have control over your supply chain, and if you're doing domestic manufacturing and development, those kinds of things, then that's better. It's better for the country because we've got Americans employed, and it's better in general. It's more secure, better for our country's security as well. So that's this page. There's some links on here to their compliance and self-certification page, which is this. So I linked to this as well. So you see there's BABA compliance, there's self-certification intake form, self-certification list, which there's nothing up there as far as I know now. I looked at it earlier, but the self-certification intake form is pretty simple. So when you click on that, you go here. You've got company name, company address, what product, provide the specific name of the piece of equipment, reference the specific product ID, like a SKU. What is it? What is it? What is it? And what does it do? What it is or what it does. So, OLT, and it connects up the end user to fiber or something like that. Or ONT is the CPE at the customer address, or it's optical fiber, or it's some component, some other piece of material that just goes there. And then there's some information here. That's pretty much it. You got to sign it. And again, they are under penalty. You're signing this, so I guess you're certifying. This is a certification, so you're certifying that you are telling the truth here. and subject to fine or imprisonment. That's always something you want to be aware of under the Program Fraud Civil Remedies Act. So just be aware of that. And then right here on this page, under the under the BEAD compliance, if you click that, you will get to this document, and this will give you lots of information about that. I can't remember if this document was out there earlier and maybe some of the self-certification stuff was in there. I don't think so, because this just came out, so maybe this was updated, or maybe this is a brand new document. Don't know. Can't recall. But you've got here Build America, Buy America, compliance and documentation requirements and procedures. You got your table of contents here, and as you scroll down, you'll see that there is what appears to be new information, I think, on the compliance part and waivers. Let's see here. General compliance documentation requirements, that's in there. What else we got? Here we go, self-certification. So BABA self-certification and compliance requirements for BEAD. So it talks about that, key elements of the self-certification, compliance, manufacturer BABA certification letter. There's a sample letter in here, right there, so you can see basically it's kind of what we were just looking at, I think. Yeah, signed by Jane Doe. So there you go. So this again is something that's good. I think in general this program is good for our country. It's I think they've done a reasonable job of trying to look at the facts on the ground and determine, you know, what we want. We're looking at two goals. We're looking at the Build America, Buy America goal, and we're looking at the BEAD goal of deploying broadband, and how do we best put those two things together so that we're not making it really a challenge or even impossible for somebody to meet the BABA requirements. We want to make sure that they can get the equipment, and that where there needs to be a waiver, there's a waiver, and that we're not, you know, again, extending out the time that it's going to take to get all those broadband deployed, because it's already taken a long time. So we don't want to make it take any longer. So now they've got this ability to be able to self-certify. So that's a good thing as well. Thanks for joining today. Hopefully this was interesting and helpful. If it is, if you give me a like on the video, I would like that. And if you're not subscribed to our channel, click the subscribe button. Make sure the little bell is rung to be notified. And then you'll get a notification when I'm live. You can tune in or not, but at least you'll know. Thanks for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.